Hello, it's a new day here. Only seconds for you. Okay, so the wash is dry. So that's Rick so far. And we have Carl. It's very stern, isn't he? So let's get on with some extra little touches. I'm not going to touch Rick's shirt. I'm quite happy with how that looks now, to be totally honest with you. What I am going to do, we're going to do obviously the trim of the coat, just little bits and pieces. So let's do the trim of his coat. So I'm coming in with my bone. If you remember, this is the colour that we also used on Carl for his coat, like his hooligan hoodie. Okay, so really simple highlights here, guys. Just in a few lines, just to it is fair at the end of the day. There we go. Hoodie. And there we go. So what we'll do now is add a bit of white into that. Just tone it down. So I'm coming in with my Corax white. And we will just add just the tiniest touch. It doesn't need to be lots. We're highlighting now and we're using a fine point brush now. So back to then, what I'm doing is I'm just essentially doing the same again, just less of it. Okay, so highlighting is always think where the light's going to catch. Yeah, around the edge there, on the back of the neck. Just makes it pop. Good old Carl. Yep, there we go. Okay, so I think we've got things like the belts and such like, so we'll do those now. Coming in with leather brown, because I want to give it just a real sort of an edge, so to speak. So I'm going to do it quite near that because I'm going to use the previous colour as my highlight colour, if that makes sense. So I'm going to mix it, but first stage, leather brown. So Rick's belt. Straight away, that's all like pick that belt out. So I'm not actually going to do anything further to Rick on his belt, but I am going to come in on the axe handle. Try and paint in one direction when you're doing wood. Almost sort of like leave lines because it makes it look like a bit of grain. On this sort of scale, it's going to be difficult to get that effect, but we'll try. So the belt's fine, but we're going to come in on the handle. Carl. I think we'll sort of give this a bit of a bit of a touch. Trying to use some different words here, guys. And then when like the shells are on his belt, I'm just picking those out. Anything that would be raised up, just around the back. And then a large area like that, what I tend to do is I tend to do just like a few lines like that. That makes sense. He's got his hat on as well. Now the hat's obviously a bit grubby, isn't it? So we're going to do a sharp highlight on the top, around the brim, at the front, and just the odd speck in there. And again, I'm sort of like using lines to sort of add a bit of interest to the miniature. There we go. Carl's shoes as well are brown, aren't they? So they're a darker brown. So what we're going to do first off, we're going to add a little bit of our previous colour. I'm going to use that brown into this brown. Okay, I'm going to mix it up a little bit, guys. And this is going to be my highlight. So I am going to try and touch the belt just at the top. Oh, alright. Top of the axe handle. Okay. And then on the holster, we're just going to go around the real sort of sharp edges again. Give it more of a pick out, and the brim of the hat. The back of the belt's a bit more sort of tricky, so we're just going to do exactly the same again. There we go. Highlighting's all really just about building it up until you're happy with it, you know. There we go. So I'm quite happy with that. There's Carl's holster, hat. But of course the hat's not complete yet. Here's a gold badge on it. So when you highlight gold, use silver. It might seem counterintuitive, but it is how it just makes it pop again. Okay, coming on to my wet palette again. And all I'm doing, the lightest of touches, just a few dots in it. Okay, of course we've got our silver out, so we're also going to highlight the guns. Not massively, just across the tops. The other side. There we go. Rick. Right, Rick's got a belt on, so this is a little bit more tricky. And the belt, top of the gun. I'll leave the handle, because the handle could very well be black or I don't know what. I can't say I've ever really sort of held a real one, so I don't really know what they are like. axe. Now, for this axe, what I would do, I would go in here and highlight crossing lines, that aspect. That just makes it sort of look sharper at the point. I'm going to leave the back of the axe quite black because I imagine it'd be quite sort of gnarly by this point. There we go. Get in there. And that's Carl with a completed hat. Okay, so let's keep going. So we have a couple of aspects of darker brown as well on them, don't we? We have Rick's jacket and Carl's shoes. So what we're going to do with that, we've got our original brown here that we mixed in. I'm going to add the original colour, a dot of oak brown, into that. I'm going to mix myself up a little highlight using the original colours. Okay, this keeps your palette all together as well, so it keeps it all the same. You know, using the same colours and everything, it tends to make it look more realistic. So like a muted palette, so to speak. It's across top of his shoes. There we go, it's just a real sort of subtle highlight. Rick's jacket is going to be a bit more different, so I'm adding a bit of water and a little bit more of the brown into this mix, okay? Okay. And what I'm going to try and do is just pick out real top end highlights across that. So I'm doing areas I know straight away that the light would catch. Top of these sort of buckle things. And then I'm looking down from the top on the model. So I'm thinking, right, his shoulders would definitely have it. Following the lines of the miniature. Just think about where a highlight would naturally fall on something. And we're not trying to over highlight it, we just want it to look realistic, which is actually a very difficult thing to achieve with painting, because we still want it to look like a dark brown leather jacket, but we want a bit of interest in there so it doesn't look like a simple sort of wash. It's just gone over the top of it. We're getting there, eh? We're getting there. So I've done here, I've mixed a little bit more of the lighter colouring. And I'm literally just following the lines of the model again. Really sort of sharp. Give it a bit of undulation, so to speak, around the front. Looks very stern, doesn't he? There you go. Okay, so that's a bit of highlighting on Rick. Still, his jacket still looks like it's an actual jacket, but it's got a bit of highlighted too, and a bit of interest on Carl's shoes as well. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at Rick's hair. Just clean my brush off. Now we did it relatively quite light, didn't we? So using our original mix here, keep mixing around that palette until we're happy with the colour that we've got. There we go. There we go. Just clean the brush. And I'm just going to touch the top of it a bit. Really gently with the side of my brush. I think Rick's blonde. I don't know, guys, what he's supposed to be in the comic. Perhaps an avid reader can tell me. But whichever way, just a bit of undulation on there helps. And Carl's still got hair somewhere. There he is. Okay. So we're going to go a bit of stage higher on Rick, just as the odd point of interest. Following the sort of the help that's already on the miniature. Yeah, there we go, hair. Okay. So I've now used that brown mix quite thoroughly. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at shoes. I'm not going to do a great deal to them, but the trousers, there isn't any black on Carl. The trousers, we are going to highlight. So we're going to come in with grey. Okay, metallic and grey. Got our palette, wash our brush. I'm going to have a dot of Corvus Black, the original black colour we used. One more dot. And this isn't just until I'm happy with there we go, with the sort of colour. And using that, I'm going to do exactly the same thing that I did on this coat. I'm just going to pick out higher areas. Where there's that chance the light would hit, and that colour variation. And you don't have to go crazy on this because we still want it to look like it's got black on, but it's all about adding the interest. We're not going to go insane on this. See that knee there? It's going to be higher with the light. Aspect there, there'll be a fold. we still want it to look like he's actually got black trousers on. It's just, we want just a bit of interest in him, that's all it is. Here, just think about where the light would fall. No. And I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to go any higher than that, because again, I want it to look black, not grey. Using this grey mix, and then just going to go across the very tip of Rick's shoes. Just give him that highlight. I'm going to come in on Carl. Check he hasn't got any black on him, which he doesn't. Brilliant. There we go. So that is getting there, isn't it? Okay. So, last thing we're going to do before we let them dry is look at Carl's jacket, which is red. I keep saying jacket, it's a hooligan hoodie. We're going to come in with our original red spot on the palette, and we're going to repeat the exact same process that we've been doing highlighting all the clouds. So on Carl, so areas where this would be lighter, let the miniatures creases and the miniature, you know, like the crease that they've modelled in. Let that sort of almost guide your hand with this. Doesn't need to be over the top. Doesn't need to be vivid or anything. It just needs to be a, going for that realism look. On the back. Back of the hood. Top of the arm here. There we go. So he's got a bit of extra highlight, a bit of extra interest in there. So that's all the clothes, all the metallics, all the belts, things like that done in the hair. What I'm going to do now, one last thing, Carl's hat has this black line around it, doesn't it? So we're just going to give it an ever such cheeky little tickle. Spot of grey on there just to bring it to life. That'll do. His badge is done as well. And we're going to leave this to dry now and then come back and look at the skin. While it's drying as well, guys, I'm going to put some texture paint on the bases using the Vallejo method that I use. Fans of the channel will see how I do my bases. If not, have a search back through my videos. Basing models, things like that. I use a lot of Vallejo texture paint. Okay, I'll come back to you guys. Okay, so nice and dry. Just needs to do the faces, and I've also textured the bases. So I'm going to tackle the top of the bases first. My thought process on this is that can be drying while I do the rest. So I'm coming in with Mechanicus Grey. Got my slightly larger brush, and I'm just going to brush off the majority. Just gently across the top of the bases. Just give it a bit of a sort of a wet brush, so to speak. The idea here is that we'll start to look like tarmac, and or like the remains of tarmac. I don't know what these about apocalypse games, I just really like them. There we go. So I'm now classing the original brush as an old brush. Here we go, there's Rick's. And coming with Carl's. So if I like the stage in the apocalypse these guys are at, I'm sort of working on the principle they may still be sort of stood in some sort of urban environment. There we go. And we're also going to go around the lip of the bases in the same grey. Okay. Let's get all this aspect done now. It's amazing, isn't it? Just by sort of finishing a base or even beginning to finish your base, just how much of an improvement it makes on your overall miniature. Standing on a piece of cloth just to get rid of any excess. Got a little tap there. Okay, do the same with Carl. So. And these are going to look different sort of rims to my zombies, but you know, hey, that doesn't really matter. They are like the main characters. They can look like what they want. Okay, so that's around the edges there. And then there. Aspect there. There we go. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to wash my brush off. I'm going to take a bit of brown, okay, and I'm almost like sort of making my own washy type glaze here. It's a really tiny drop. Because obviously if you look at the roads, they're pretty mucky anyway. If you look at them probably after an apocalypse, they're going to look even worse. And I'm just literally just going to dab it on, just in areas, guys. Yeah, just in areas. Nothing too excessive. It's just to give a bit of muck, basically. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we're going to leave the bases to dry. Think about the skin. So, let's give you an idea on that. When that's dried up, it'll sort of give an idea, like a bit of a mucky sort of surface. And you know what, if you want to sort of take that even further, you can just almost use pure water and just sort of manipulate it a little bit. Yeah. You know, until you're happy with it. There you go. Dirty ground underneath her feet, you know, a bit on his shoes. You know, it's not the best of places to be the apocalypse, is it? Okay, so the base is almost done. We might add a couple of sort of tufts on there, maybe see if something's growing up through the ground or whatever it is. And we're going to now sort of look at the skin on them, so we can do away with that. And we're going to look at the skin. Now, I have two stages to skin. Original colour. Nice fine brush. Dab of water. Okay. And we're going to literally pick out its highlights. So the highlight points on Rick here would be like the bridge of the nose, top of his head, cheekbones, down the side there, chin, bridge of his ears. Yeah, we're just going to start just building it up, just like we have everywhere else. Skin's not to be feared. It's the same principle. All the other highlighting. Just build it up. Yeah. I'm going to go into his fingers, top of the hand, don't forget that he has 2 ears. He has 2 hands at the minute as well. And back of the hatchet hand. Okay, do the same on Carl. Carl. I don't know why I say that. Sound. Okay, so we've just sort of picked out the top areas of the skin. What I'm going to do now, going back to Rick, I'm going to add a bit of white into that, guys. So I'm going to add a tiny dab of Corax white. And now we're really going to just pick out the finer points, so bridge of the nose. Yeah, I mean, just again, it's just about building it up. It really is. Just build it up. Again, I'm thinking about where the light would fall. There we go. So, are we going to try his eyes? That's the thing, isn't it? Maybe. So, Bridget Carl's nose. Across the top there. His chin and his cheekbones. Top of his hand here. Pistol hand. Back of the hand. Okay, so I'm happy with how far the skin's gone on that. We are going to try do some eyes. Yeah, this is where there might be a quick video edit. So let's have a look. So I'm going in with white. Happy with one of those eyes, not the other. And things like this, you can always just repair them, you know. A bit of your previous colour. Better. Obviously a lot of pupils, he's not just going to have wide, staring white eyes. He says, maybe. And Carl. There we go, one there. And one there. Okay, so I'm going to leave those to dry now, guys, because the next stage is literally a dot of black. So while that's happening, I'll come back to you. So, we just need to add the eyes. Okay, here we go. So, Corvus black. Oh, this is a nerve-wracking moment. The smallest dot. Okay, let's go. Here we go. There we go. Rick can see. See if we can do the same with Carl. There we go. Most nerve-wracking bit on video ever. How's it done? Nice one. Okay. So I want to add some extra detail to the bases. So I'm going to put on a couple of tufts, I think. And to do that, guys, I'm just going to have a dab of PVA. Don't have to be a lot. Enter old brush. And let's think about where we want to put them. Let's put one there. So I want to just sort of simulate the fact that maybe the ground's breaking up and you know, it's the apocalypse at the end of the day, eh? One there. Let's put one at the back on Carl as well. So that's where the tufts are going to go. So I put my PVA on first. Old brush is staying because we have another step to do. And here we go. So these are quite substantial tufts, these, but they might look relatively cool like this. Let's tap them down. There we go. The world is falling to pieces, eh? So there's Rick. Carl done. I just use the back of a brush, just tap them down, it just sort of spreads them a little bit as well. More of a sort of realistic look. Okay. Tough done. Yeah, getting there. Okay, and the last thing I want to do is some lovely gore. I use Tamiya Clear Red for all blood effects. I really like this colour. It's good for things like inside windows and stuff like that. You know, if you want a tinted window, like a special ops or anything like that, you do all variety of colours, but the red is really good for blood. Use an old brush. It will kill your brushes mercilessly. Now, it's The Walking Dead, so we're having a bit on the base. So we try and put a bit on there. Yeah? And we'll have a bit on his axe as well. Too much, Tom, too much. Okay, and for axes, we're just going to go... There we go. Got Carl. Good old Carl. There we go. Wash them off. Lid back on that stuff, guys. It does take a bit longer to dry, but it is a really, really good paint. Yeah, Tamiya clear red acrylic. A couple of quid. Hobbycraft, things like that. Well worth it. Okay, so we're getting there. So we have Rick. And Carl. I really like how Carl's hat's come out for some reason. Okay, so while that's drying off, one last thing that we will do, we're just going to go around the edge of the base one more time, stand them on our little mat, and then we're finished. And I will take some photos of them amongst the Walking Dead miniature collection that I have. Okay, so let's around the base one more time. Little sort of things like that you can do to bases, just really add character, particularly when they're character models and, you know, everyone really knows The Walking Dead, you know, be it the TV show or the comics or whatever it is that you're into. The characters of Rick and Carl are pretty synonymous with it, aren't they? That's a big word for a video. Just going around, just making sure that it's nice and we go. Okay, so I'll have to call the paint job on them done. And good old Rick. Yeah, so there we go. So Chilling Wargamers, September challenge done. Complete a project. Mine was the Walking Dead All Out War starter set. So I'm going to follow this up with some photos of them in situ, so to speak. But thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Like, comment and subscribe. Your support means the world to me, and it's amazing. It's great seeing the community grow. So thank you ever so much. And as always, happy hobbying.